Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to CCRL Pro Tier, as we will be watching the Pro Tier take on the 5.412 kilometer, 15 corners, and 3 DRS zones here at the Bahrain International Circuit in Bahrain. It's going to be an interesting race, short qualifying, 29 laps, and we got some new ERS modes to play with, as well as setups, tire wear, all sorts of new additions kind of made into this game. So it'll be interesting here as we are about to get qualifying underway. It looks like we got some movement in the Red Bull garage, as it looks like both drivers are getting ready to come out on the circuit. That is LB to go and Abdul. So they did do random draw teams this season. So everybody is randomly assigned a car, and I look forward to seeing how these new teams are going to play out and team strategies here, as LB the GOAT is the first one on the circuit for the time being, and he is rounding through turn 2 and 3. That's going to take him back up the hill all the way down into turn 4. There is no dragging the brakes in this game to warm up your tires, so you have to be extremely aggressive on your outlap to get the tires up to temperature, and he is about to make his way through the S-curves here. So he just finished through sector 1, heading back down the hill into turn 8 with the off-camber corners of turn 9 into turn 10. That will lead you onto the DRS zone in the middle of the circuit here on the track map there. From turn 10 all the way down into turn 11, you will have DRS there, and some passes can be made into turn 11. So quite a bit of the field is taken to the circuit, and we're just riding on board with the Red Bull of LB the GOAT. It's going to be very difficult to choose championships here, since it's a new game, but LB the GOAT making his way down into turn 14 and 15, getting ready to start his first lap of qualifying. Off the exit of turn 15, in about 100 meters, he's going to open up this DRS flap, make a run all the way down into turn 1, and at the time being, just running on hot lap for the ERS. Into turn 1 we go, heavy on the brakes at about 125 meters. Gets well through turn 1, off the exit, coming through turn 3, up the hill, opens up that DRS flap one more time, making a run all the way up into turn 4, brakes at about 100 meters, gets through the apex very nicely. Now he's going to make his way through sector 1, 28.9, sector 1 split, back down the hill into turn 8 we go, heavy on the brake all the way into second gear. And you get a really nice run through turn 8. Now he's going to carry into turn 9 and 10. Opens up the DRS flap, and he's going to make that run up to turn 11. And that will take him through sector 2 of turn 12. And then the strange braking zone of turn 13. He does have a Ferrari in front of him. Not sure if he's going to get close enough for a tow. It looks like that Ferrari's getting moving here. Off the exit of turn 13 we go. And got a purple sector 2, but he is the only car so far that's setting some times. I mean, there's a bunch of folks right behind him all setting laps as well. We got a group going into turn 13. Not sure what's going on with that. But here we go. LB the GOAT's going to set a preliminary target of a 130.4. Here comes Abdul. He does have a Haas in front of him. I'm not sure if this is going to hinder him off the exit. He has been using that overtake. He is going to make a run towards the line. The Haas still has not gotten out of his way. Abdul comes across with a 130.1. Silos with a 130.1 as well. And that is peak hour that tend to impede down in through the final laps there. We got some more times. Osmanian Devil to the top of the board with a 129.8. On board with LK. Looks like he is just getting started on a lap. Feeney is not out of pit lane yet. Patty Cake up to a 130.4. New fastest lap by Komakopa at a 129.3. And he has said he's not running assists this season, so no line on that Aston Martin there on the pole so far. Antonio making his way off of turn 15. He's getting ready to potentially start a lap here. Got the DRS in the flap open. Yeah, 132.3. So it doesn't. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. He is running none for ERS mode. Bongit appears to be on a lap as he's making his way through turn 4 in that McLaren, coming through sector 1 split. Let's see how he does. 29.8. He is nearly 7.5 seconds up on his time, making his way down the hill into turn 8. He does have quite a bit of traffic in front of him here, heading towards turn 9 and 10, the off-camber corner. Got to be very smooth on your braking point here into turn 10. He's going to look like he's getting a nice run, maybe a tow from the car in front of him. It appears to be the Visa Cash App Red Bull, and I believe that might be GC Adventure. Yes, it is. On our way through turn 11. Now we're making our way back up the hill off of turn 12 with the Haas right in front now. The Haas is going to go wide off the circuit in through turn 13. Everybody on different lines. The Bongit is actually racing with Peak Hour or GC Adventure here in qualifying. Get the run down into turn 14. And now we're going to make a run towards the line off the exit of 15. And DRS flap wide open across the line. Bonga goes with a 132.6. So a lot of folks not really paying attention to drivers on the circuit. Quite a bit of impeding going on here. I'm trying to find somebody who may be on a lap. Peak Hour does appear to be on a lap now, making his way through sector 1. Up the hill into turn 4. Brakes at about 100 meters off the exit of 4. Now we're going to carry into the S-curve. Just wanted to check my sound there. Heading down into turn 8 we go. And now we're going to make a run back into, looks like turn 9 and 10, down into the off-camber braking zone of turn 10. Runs through the curb on the apex. He does have a McLaren behind him, and that might be another McLaren on a lap. That might be Osmanian Devil. Yes, Osmanian Devil is on a lap. Now he is being impeded by a Haas driver here of Peak Hour, who's also on a lap, coming through turn 12 up the hill into turn 13 through sector 3, 6/10 up on his time. Osmanian Devil's all over that rear diffuser. He is 2/10 up on his time, but this is heavily affecting him on his run down into turn 14. Gonna go down into the inside. And wow, and Osmanian Devil off the exit of turn 15. It's like we're racing in qualifying. Osmanian Devil opens up that flap, comes across the line, and does not improve on the time. Peak Hour improves nearly 3.5 tenths. IRZ through sector 3, 7/10 up on his time, making a run down into turn 14. He's got plenty of space in front of him. Nobody in impediment here. Off the exit of turn 15, he's getting ready to open up that DRS flap. He's nearly 8/10 up on his time through sector 2. He comes across only 4/10, and he's in P11. Raptor is starting his first lap into turn 1. We're going to ride on board with Jay Feeney in the Haas this season as he's making his way down into turn 10 where the off-camber corner is. Really nice apex. Opens up the DRS flap, making a run up into turn 10. Or turn 11, heavy on the brakes. Off the exit, gets back on the throttle super early. Lets that car carry all the momentum possibly. Through sector 3, purple sector 2. So far he's starting turn 13, now making his way down the hill into turn 14. He does have a Mercedes in front of him. That Mercedes is holding off to the inside of the circuit through the braking zone into turn 14. Now he's got 15 right in front of him. He's going to keep it within the track limits. Use all of his battery there. He's got the DRS flap wide open across the line with a 129.0. So a Feeney up at the top of the board by nearly 3/10 of a second. And we got some folks heading into pit lane here. Antonio is not on a lap. CeeLo's just got into pit lane. Abdul starting his lap, or hot lap here. LB the GOAT Not exactly sure if he's on a lap, but he's making a run down into turn 14. He has got the hot lap on. Off the exit of 14, coming through 15 now. He's got the line right in front of him. He's going to open up this DRS flap, and he's making a run, and he does improve by almost a full second here up into the P4 position. So the second row for that Red Bull with his teammate sitting down in P11. But they can be happy with one inside the top 5 for the time being. Raptor's going to pull to the inside, not on a lap currently. And it looks like everybody else is getting ready to start a lap. Jump on board with the Aston Martin, who we haven't talked about at all tonight, and that is going to be Comacopa following on board with him as he's making his run down into turn 1 here. And he's going to get heavy on the brake at about 125 meters down into turn 1. All the way into third gear. Really good run through turn 1. He's going to open up the DRS flap. Up the hill we go into turn 4. Not using much of that battery. Into turn 4 we go. He's going to get a really nice run there. Coming into the S-curves. Down the hill. Making his run. Is he going to carry all the momentum into turn 8? Yes, he does. Heavy on the brake. All the way down into third gear. Into turn 8. Now heading into turn 9 and 10. The off-camber corner. And he does so well. He's got the DRS flap wide open off of turn 10, heading all the way back into turn 11 to make his run through sector 2. Let's see what he is up on his time. Into turn 11 we are. Getting ready to cross the sector 2 split he goes. He is a 10th and a half up on his time through sector 2, purple sector 2. Now he's got to carry this momentum as much as possible. Is he on pace to get a pole position potentially here? Off the corner he goes. Getting ready to open up the DRS flap, heading towards the line, and he only good enough to jump into the P2 position in that Aston Martin. So he is on the front row, on the outside of Jay Feeney. Or the inside, sorry. See here, gotta find a folks on a lap. Neither one of them are. GC Adventure is not. Abdul is on a lap making a run into turn 4. Let's see if he's up on his time when he comes across the sector 1 split here. He is not. So he's a full second off right now, second and a half. And here comes Silos. He is starting his final lap, possibly with 5 minutes to go, making his way through sector 1, up the hill, off the exit of turn 3. He's going to stay all the way to the outside, break at about the 100 meters down into third gear, makes his way around turn 4. Now he's going to head down the hill through the S-curves. Purple sector 1, 400th of a second up on his time into the braking zone of turn 8. Really good run through there. Gets a little wide on the curb. Some rear wheel spin now heading through turn 9 into turn 10. He does have a Ferrari in front of him here. Is he close enough to potentially get a tow? I do appear to be so, as he's making his way all the way into turn 11. Into the braking zone he is. The dirty air might help, but the tow helps on the straight. Or the dirty air doesn't help, but the tow helps on the straight as we're coming up into turn 13 through sector 2. 3/10 up on his time. Off the exit of turn 13, uses all that exit curb. He's carrying as much momentum as possible down into turn 14 and 15. Is he going to be able to get a good run off the exit of 15? Silos is looking at a potential pole position here. He needs to gain a half a second off of 13, and he comes across. He's up onto the front row in P2. Patty Cake making his run through sector 2 now, and oh, he got him pushed off the circuit by the Visa Cash App Red Bull, and that unfortunately is not good there for Patty Cake. Osmanian Devil is Not on a qualifying lap, but he's sitting in the P9 position in the 129. Let's see here, Raptor's not on a lap. IRZ's making his run down into turn 14. Off the exit he goes. Coming through turn 15, he has the DRS wide open in front of him. Is he going to gain on his time? Across the line he is, gains a half a second. Only good enough for the P13 position though. Like me or not, making a run down into turn 8 now in that kickstart Sauber. It appears he gets a little bit of a wheel spin off of turn 8 into the off-camber section here of turn 10. Gonna open up that DRS flap, making his run towards turn 11. He's got quite a bit of traffic on the inside. Everybody's just staying out of the way, trying to warm up their tires here to get their final run in. Off the exit of turn 11 through 12 we go. Back up the hill across sector 2 split. Is he up on his time? He is not. So unfortunately, like me or not, is not up on his time. Tasmanian Devil's not getting ready to start a lap. Antonio gets a lot of wheel spin off the exit of turn 4. And unfortunately, he's nearly a tenth and a half off his time. Let's jump on board with Patty Cake. Is he doing another lap? It looks like he's potentially warming up here to get his final lap going. Silos is making his way around the circuit. I think he's going to try and do one more lap as well. Tasmanian Devil starting his final lap down into turn 1. See here, let's jump on board with some of these folks coming across the line. Pretty complicated to keep up. We've got quite a bit of traffic here in sector 2. Not sure what's going on here, but Bongit is coming through sector 2 now. He's gonna hit this off-camber corner of turn 9 and 10. Opens up that DRS flap, making a run towards turn 11. In the 4th gear, he's back on the throttle, about the apex, and now he's making his way through turn 12. Back up the hill, comes across sector 2 split. He is a second and a half up on his time. Purple sector 2, off the exit of turn 13, making his run back down the hill in towards turn 14. Let's see how he does here through 14 and 15. Getting ready to open up that DRS flap in about 300 meters now, and he's coming towards the line. Got a wide open across the line, and he's good enough for P10 with a 129.9. He did gain on a time there. We're going to jump back up to the front here. We got quite a bit of folks getting ready to cross the line here. On board with Comacopa. I'm not sure if he improved through sector 2, but he's making his way down into turn 14. Is he going to be able to jump onto the front row and knock Silos down one position? Off the exit he goes. The Aston Martin is going to dive into pit lane. Silos is not on a lap. Jay Feeney coming across off the exit of turn 15, making a run towards the line. He's going to open up the DRS flap. Does he improve on the time? And he does, down to a 128.3. Feeney is going to take the pole position. Mr. Miller working his way through sector 1. Is he up on his time across the split? He's 2.5 tenths up on his time, so Mr. Miller's looking for improvement. Is he looking at a front row potential? Yes, he is. That 2.5 tenths would put him on the front row. Into the turn 9 and the off-camber turn of 10. Going to open up this DRS flap, heading towards turn 11. Got the Visa Cash App Red Bull right in front of him. Tasmanian Devil appears to potentially not be on a lap there. Bonga is heading towards the line. Abdul's coming towards the line as well. GC Adventure off the exit of turn 15. Now he's making his run towards the line. And DRS flap wide open, comes across and does not improve. Let's jump on board with Raptor as he's making his way off the final corner. Heading towards the line, got that DRS flap wide open, up into the P10 position for Raptor. Mr. Miller, and he's going to jump into pit lane. Must have messed up somewhere on that lap, just waiting on Tasmanian Devil. And we have our grid, folks, for the Grand Prix. Mr. Miller ran out of fuel going into the last corner, unfortunately for him. So that 2.5 tenths would have had him on the front row, but he ran out of fuel. Alright, folks, we have our grid set. Feeney on the front row with Silos next to him. Comacopa MP3, Mr. Miller 4th. Patty Cake 5th. LB the Goat 6th. Okay. In 7th, Osmanian Devil in 8th. The Boonster 9th. And then 10th is your, I agree. He does have to fill that vacancy. Raptor in 10th. Bonga 11th, Abdul 12th, Antonio 13th, IRZ 14th, Peak Hour 15th, Matthew 16th, Like Me or Not 17th, and GC Adventure rounds out your grid for the evening. Gonna give him about 3 minutes before we get ready to go green flag here for 29 laps around the Bahrain International Circuit. Their formation lap or not, I'm not exactly sure. We will find out with the lights start clicking. I'm just gonna find my drink. Too much GT7 for bong it. Yeah. I'll be honest with you though, I haven't done any practice myself, so I need to get some practice in tomorrow for sure. But I haven't done any practice myself for Wednesday. Like I've ran the track, I've gotten faster at Bahrain, but not nearly. I'm not going to be able to keep up with Walrus for probably almost the whole season. I'm just looking to fight mid-pack and enjoy myself and have a good time this season. I don't need to be overly competitive. I'm just trying to enjoy myself, you know. Last season I got way too competitive with it, and I'm now looking forward to having fun. Alright, we should be getting started shortly here, folks. I will show the tires as soon as I can. I'm going to turn up the actual volume here for the race. I have it on broadcast volume, so it's not nearly as loud right now, so we'll try this out. I think I did pretty well calling qualifying as I was watching the Boston Celtics game. Sorry, but go Celtics tonight. Up by 9. We were up by 15, but we're up by 9. If you're just tuning in, we're going to be doing 29 laps around the Bahrain International Circuit here in Bahrain. The grid is set. Yeah, one stop would be interesting. I don't know because like I haven't done much of that, you know. All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, and the lights are out, and away we go. The leader of Feeney did not get off to a great start. That allows Silos to get a great jump. We got a spin in the back, and that is going to be the Boonster. There is some debris down into turn 1. Get rid of that real quick, and wow. A lot of action going on, and we got a 3-car spin, 4 cars all off the circuit here, off of turn 3. A lot of chaos going already on the opening lap here in Bahrain. IRZ made his way into P7. The Booster has already left the session, unfortunately have retired. And IRZ and Osmanian Devil are battling through the S-curves. Antonio's going to get up in front. Jay Feeney already has a penalty down into turn 8. We got quite a bit of debris off the start of this Grand Prix. Jay Feeney is into P10. A little bit of a wheel spin by Antonio in that Mercedes. Through turn 9 into the off-camber, and the Beast of Cash App Red Bull of Raptors looking to go down the inside of the Mercedes, but the Mercedes of Antonio got a great jump, trying to go down the inside of Peak Hour. Abdul down through the inside of IRZ into turn 10. Now we're going to make our way, or through turn 11, up the hill into turn 13. And amongst all that chaos, Silos had taken the lead of the Grand Prix. Mr. Miller in P3, Comacopa in 4th, as the leaders are looking to make their way across the line to complete lap 1. Very chaotic opening start into turn 1. And Silos has led the opening lap, but here comes Mr. Miller, gonna jump down through the inside into the braking zone, and he's gonna take over the lead now here on lap 2 at Bahrain. Jay Feeney does work his way through and down through the inside. IRZ goes on Jay Feeney, gives him a little bit of a wheel bang off of that, but Jay Feeney is going to be up into the P9 position. We got a battle here between Matthew and Abdul up the hill into turn 4. We go. Through turn 4, Abdul is going to try and hang it around the outside of turn 4. Now he's going to be through the inside of 5, around the outside of 6. And Matthew is going to back out in that Williams, but here comes the McLaren of Osmanian Devil carrying Jay Feeney around the outside of turn 8. And there goes around the Ferrari of Patty Cake off the edge of the turn 8. And still got quite a bit of action going on here with all these folks. Jay Feeney's looking to work his way back through the pack here in this Haas. He did not get off to a great start. He's now looking to put the attack on the McLaren here in that P6 position. Osmanian Devil goes a little deep, missed his breaking point. That allowed Jay Feeney through the inside. Now Osmanian Devil's on attack from Matthew right behind. Matthew is going to look down to the inside of turn 13, and he's not close enough to take that position away. DRS did get activated on the first lap, or after the first lap. Mr. Miller is going to lead lap 2. Silos does have the, yeah, trackside, I wonder why. Silos did get the DRS there. Is he going to have it on the run up into turn 4? Yes, he does. Trying to stay within a second. Comacopa is within a second. Jay Feeney up into the P5 position. IRZ is looking through the inside of turn 2, fighting alongside Antonio now. Bonga is now taking advantage around the outside into the braking zone of turn 4. And he gets a little loose on that corner. IRZ is going to take advantage back into the P10 position through turn 4. Go back. Actually, no, we got some action going on back here too. Peak Hour in that Haas is looking to put the attack on the Visa Cash App Red Bull of Raptor KK, but like me or not, he's going to potentially look down to the inside into turn 10. No, he does not. And it appears that Peak Hour has that position. IRZ down through the Bonga down to the inside, and contact is made, and Bonga is going to save it off the exit of turn 11. up the hill, and we got a Red Bull through the inside, and that is Abdul. Unfortunately, gone to the inside wall, and that's very unfortunate for him. Patty Cake does jump up into the P15 position. Now we got quite a bit of a DRS train going on here. Bonga is just outside of a second. He's found within that second now. Coma Copa is into the P2 position down through the inside. It appears of turn 1. And Silos is going to be looking to put the attack on, but Coma Copa actually got the DRS. That's going to help him close up the gap to Mr. Miller there in the lead. Jay Feeney back here in the P5 position by himself. He is dealing with a time penalty. So is GC Adventure and Abdul. LB the Goat sitting in the P4 position about a second. And he's actually closing the gap. He's down to a second and 8/10 there. So starting to close the gap up to the leaders in front of him. Following along the DRS train in the back, the McLaren of Bonga goes a little wide there off the exit of turn 7. But he is going to keep it under control here as he's trying to close up to the back of IRZ, making our way through turn 10. Heading into turn 11, IRZ and the Aston Martin's looking down to the inside of the Mercedes into the braking zone and really had to cut through the corner. Is Bonga going to take advantage around the outside of turn 11? No, he is not. He's going to jump right back behind IRZ as they make their way up into turn 13. In the meantime, Coma Copa has closed up to the back of Mr. Miller. He is going to get the DRS, and Silo's still hanging on in that P3 position. I have not pulled up the tires at all. We got 3 soft runners in the front, medium in P4, and then some more soft runners. So we got Matthew, the only one on the hard tires here. Position changes through, and it looks like the Aston Martin of Coma Copa down to the inside of that Alpine of Mr. Miller, and Mr. Miller's going to hang on here in the lead. In the meantime, we got up 3 for Miller, up 6 for Antonio, up 8 for Matthew, and up 5 for IAZ. Down 10 positions for Patty Cake, LK, and Peak Hour are fighting back here. Jump on board with these guys. Very bad camera angle. Let's get rid of position change. LB the Goat manages to get by Coma Copa. Coma Copa must have made a big mistake into turn 10 that allowed LB the Goat to jump into that P3 position. Off the exit of turn 10 now, we got a train here of cars heading towards turn 11. And it looks like Matthew will be leading in that Williams of the midfield train. And Raptor is trying to close up the gap to IRZ here as we're heading through turn 13. And the McLaren of Bonga sitting outside the top 10. He's looking to make a jump into the top 10 as well. The Mercedes of Antonio is looking to make a move down to the inside of turn 14. The Aston Martin wants to peek in there as well. A Red Bull went around, unfortunately. Aston Martin a little too much wheel spin off the exit. And the Williams of Matthew does get the DRS on that Mercedes. Into turn 1 we go. Matthew's going to take that position. Bonga's going to jump up inside the top 10 as well. Through turn 1 we go. Bonga is closed up the gap. Now we have a good sized train from P7 all the way down to just almost all the way down to P15. So everybody is racing pretty closely here in the midfield. Mr. Miller still up in the lead. Coma Copa managed to get by LB the Goat once again. Now he's going to be looking to close that gap back up to Silos in front of him. Raptor KK through the inside of turn 7 down the hill into turn 8. And he's back inside the top 10. He made the move on Bonga. Jay Feeney still nearly 5 seconds outside of P4 as he's trying to close back up to LB the Goat. He started on pole and made a massive mistake on the start and unfortunately fell down the grid real fast on the start. Raptor KK here is still trying to hang on to that 1 second gap to IRZ in front of him, but they are actually back under the 1 second, so he's looking to get DRS off the exit here of turn 14. Antonio is going to get the DRS on Matthew in front of him, so he's going to make a run down into turn 1. Antonio, that Mercedes, down to the inside of the Williams. The Williams going to carry as much net to him, a little tap, and here goes the Aston Martin. And nearly 3 wide into turn 1, but the Aston Martin's going to hang down tight. Matthew and IRZ battling side by side back up the hill towards turn 4. They both got DRS, so it's going to be a race all the way into the braking zone of turn 4, and it looks like IRZ is going to jump into that P8 position. Matthew looking for a little switchback off the exit, but that is going to be covered. And now IRZ into 8th, Matthew in 9th. And Antonio goes, who's that? Osmanian Devil has gone around, and he's dropping through the grid. And it looks like Matthew and IRZ gets into it, and Raptor goes around the outside. Bongut's going to peek into this picture going into turn 10, and he's going to be able to outbrake through the inside. Off the exit we go. Matthew around the outside. DRS wide open, and there goes the kick salver of Like Me or Not into the inside wall, and that's going to bring out the virtual safety car here on lap 7. And wow, a lot of confusion has been built here with that virtual safety car. Everybody trying to get back into position here under the VSC. Unfortunately, Like Me or Not, off the exit of turn 10, I'm not exactly sure if he got help from the Ferrari or not, but he went into the inside wall and brought out the virtual safety car. We got quite a bit of folks jumping into pit lane right now, and damn. You're not wrong, Trackside. That is definitely Grosjean 2.0. Silos did stay out on the soft tires. Everybody else behind him did bot. Actually, not a whole lot of people did pit there. It looks like only 5 cars, 6 cars did bot for some new tires. Or, nope, more are coming out now. So we got a lot of new tires here on the grid, a lot of hards, a few mediums, and Mr. Miller and Comacopa both switched back to softs, and we're back under green flag. So be interesting to see how this is going to play out towards the end. Up towards the front though, Jay Feeney is trying to chase down Comacopa now on the medium tires. Still got a train of cars all off the exit up turn 10. The Red Bull of LB the Goat peeking down to the inside of the Aston Martin into turn 11. Not really far enough alongside to attempt a move, but now he's trying to come around the outside of turn 12. On the Aston Martin into the braking zone of turn 13 we go. IRZ down through the inside. LB the Goat around the outside in the Red Bull. He's now going to get a tow from the Williams in front of him as they're making their way down into turn 14. And it appears LB the Goat does get it. Does he get the DRS off the exit though? As he's getting ready to open up this DRS flap, he does get the DRS on the Williams in front of him of Matthew. Jay Feeney down through the inside of Comacopa up into the P3 position. And now Comacopa is going to be looking to follow him with the soft tires and DRS. Matthew is in P5. LB the Goat sitting in P6 with IRZ chasing behind him. He still has that DRS as they make their way up the hill towards turn 4. But LB the Goat down to the inside, and he is going to complete the move through turn 4 heading into turn 5. Matthew actually wants to try and fight this around the outside of turn 6, but he's not going to be close enough to hang on to that as we're heading back down the hill towards turn 8. Comacopa is hanging on to Jay Feeney here in the P4 position through turn 10. And he is going to get the DRS. Does he get the run off the exit as he's starting to close up to the back, but he's not closing enough into turn 11. Jay Feeney's still on used tires. No, he did box, so he's on a new set of medium tires. He boxed under that virtual safety car. Comacopa is going to be fighting to hang on to that DRS as we're making our way down into turn 14. Silos dives into pit lane, and he's coming out on a set of hard tires here. Is he going to come out in front of Jay Feeney? And it looks like he is. So Silos right there, staying out under the virtual safety car on a set of medium tires, hangs onto that P2 position in a really good spot to finish out this race on a set of hard tires. Comacopa and Feeney are battling, and Feeney does get the DRS up the hill into turn 4. Comacopa's looking down to the end. And he's hanging on. IRZ through pit lane, and it looks like Raptor down to the inside into turn 1 he goes, and he gives a little push to LK, and it looks like Raptor into the P9 position. IRZ just came out of pit lane here in the P12 position now. Gonna jump back up here to Comacopa, who's hanging on to Feeney. He's looking to use the toe and the DRS to catch up to Silos in that P2 position. Cold tires are definitely a factor when you come out of pit lane. As we're making our way through turn 12 up the hill, finish sector 2 into turn 13. Comacopa all over that rear diffuser of Jay Feeney. And it looks like Jay Feeney is harvesting as they're heading down the hill into turn 14. Comacopa's really going to try and fight this hard as he comes off the exit. About a second and a half outside of Silos here, as Silos is actually losing time to Mr. Miller in front. Comacopa down to the inside of Jay Feeney. He's going to jump into that P3 position, and that's going to give him a massive boost all the way up to under a second of Silos in second place. So now he's going to get that DRS as he's making a run up the hill into turn 4. So Comacopa played out the DRS run into turn 1 on a set of soft tires. Got all that speed up into turn 4. Now we got a 3-car train all battling for the final 2 podium positions. LK within a second of Raptor. He's going to open up that DRS, and now he's going to make a run up into turn 4, and he's going to jump into that P9 position as Raptor's going to fall right behind him as they're making their way through turn 5, 6, and 7. He's still got the 3-car train. Jay Feeney's holding Comacopa behind, but 3 cars wide into turn 11. Comacopa's going to hang it around the outside. Into the P2 position he goes. As Jay Feeney's going to get into that P3, gets really loose in through turn 13. And now Silos is going to hold on to that P3 position, and he's going to get the DRS run down into turn 1 as well when he comes off the exit of turn 15. Here comes Silos. He's really going to put the pressure on Comacopa, and Jay Feeney's putting the pressure on as well. Down toward turn 1. They're losing a lot of time to Mr. Miller as it's outside 12 seconds. And Silos get a look. He's going to go around to the outside. Feeney gets into the back of Silos. Now he's going to go around the outside through turn 2. And Silos is going to jump right back behind Feeney, but they both got the DRS in the run. As Silos can get a possible toe into turn 4 around the outside. He's looking on Feeney. Comacopa goes a little wide, and that's going to allow Feeney to jump to his inside in through turn 5 and 6. And now we're making our way down the hill into turn 8. And the second, third, and fourth are all battling for those final 2 podium positions here on lap 12. And they're all on different tire compounds. Jay Feeney on the mediums, Comacopa on the soft, and Silos on a set of hard tires. LK still hanging on to the DRS of Raptor in front of him. Nobody makes the move into turn 11. We will stick with this 3-car battle here as we're making our way through turn 12, up the hill into 13, cross sector 2, and that's what we've just done. Only on lap 12, and these guys have brought exciting racing here in the opening 12 laps as Mr. Miller is starting lap 13 for us here at Bahrain. And I don't think Mr. Miller has bought. Yes, he has actually, but he is on a set of soft tires. So he is going to have to bot again. Same with Comacopa as we're making a run down into turn 1 we go. And it looks like Komakopa is peeking down to the inside, but not close enough. And here comes Silos following along. Up the hill we go. We got the DRS from Komakopa. He's looking around the outside of Jay Feeney. He does get ahead of him just before the braking zone. And Feeney's going to fall back into that P3 position and follow along here as they're still fighting over this P2, but losing time continuously as Mr. Miller's 14 seconds ahead in the lead. Down into turn 10. Making our way towards turn 11, and we still got a 3-car battle. Heading through turn 13. Back down the hill into turn 14 and 15 we go. And we got Jay Feeney sitting in that P2 position. Komakopa is going to get the DRS off the exit of 15. Making a run down into turn 1. Komakopa is closing up to the back of Feeney. Through the inside he goes. And he's going to jump back into that P2 position. But here comes Silos as well. He's looking to jump on top and take that P3 position as well. But Jay Feeney's going to hold him off. The swapping of positions between Komakopa and Feeney is holding off Silos at this time. Nobody else is really in any DRS fights here. So we're just going to stick with these three as they're battling for the final 2 podium positions. And maybe even potentially for the win. As Mr. Miller and Komakopa are on a set of softs, they still do have to box one more time. Making our way down into turn 11. Feeney is starting to close up to the back of Komakopa, and Silos has fallen outside of DRS. And he's down to 1 point, or now he's looking to get back within that second of Feeney and Komakopa here as we're heading up the hill into turn 13. Off the exit we go, and now we're all back within DRS. LK has caught up to the back of Raptor. And now off the exit, and looks like Komakopa's gonna, he faked the dive into pit lane, but he actually was looking to break the toe from Feeney. Feeney is gonna get around the outside into the braking zone we go. Komakopa and Feeney side by side through turn 1, and Feeney's gonna hold it around the outside and take that position. Komakopa slow exit off. It's Silos gonna look to take advantage through the inside, up the hill into turn 4. No, he's not. He's gonna fall right behind. Matthew and Antonio battling closely with each other here for P6, and it looks like Matthew is gonna hang on as Antonio is got the DRS up the hill into turn 4, but not close enough to make a move at all. And it looks like Silos goes really deep into the braking zone on Komakopa, and that unfortunately hinders him off the edge of the turn 10. Komakopa is closing up to Jay Feeney now as we're making our way through turn 11 into turn 12. Still got a 3-car battle here for the lead. Or for, yeah, it could be for the lead if Mr. Miller pits here, as he is losing a lot of time, and Mr. Miller diving into, no, that's not Mr. Miller actually. He's down to 11 seconds. Feeney dives into pit lane. Off the medium tires he goes. Komakopa also goes into pit lane. LB to go up into that P3 position on a set of white wall hard tires. And we got about 13, 14 laps to go here at Bahrain. Mr. Miller still out in front by 11.7 seconds. Antonio's gaining positions into that P4, battling with Matthew. and Antonio into P4 position. Matthew right behind him in 5th. Off the edge of the turn 1, Bongit comes out in front of Feeney and Komakopa. So he's into the P6 position on a set of medium tires, and Feeney's going to come out on hards. Komakopa's coming out on hards. Raptor on the set of hard tires, looking to put the pressure on Komakopa, as Komakopa is on a set of cold hard tires. Just came out of pit lane through turn 4, and the Visa Cash App Red Bull is now looking to put the attack on the Aston Martin, as the teammate of GC Adventure pulled off to the inside to let these guys go through as they were lapping him. Down through turn 9, into turn 10 we go, the off-cambered braking zone. Off the exit, Feeney is within a second of Bongit, but does not have DRS. Raptor does got DRS on Komakopa here, and he's not going to be close enough to make a move into turn 11. Komakopa's 3.7 seconds outside of Feeney, as Bongit is 4 seconds outside of Matthew. So we're starting to close up. Mr. Miller dives into pit lane. What does he come out on for a set of tires? He comes out on the hard tires with 12 laps to go. Is he going to be able to pull this off as he comes off the pit lane, sitting in that P3 position? Where does he come out? He's going to come out right in front of Antonio there in that P3 position. So Mr. Miller is playing this out really well. Komakopa up into the P7 with Raptor, and Bongit through pit lane. He's coming out on set of hard tires as well. So a lot of folks here have done the two-stop strategy here at Bahrain. And Peak Hour in the Haas is going to hold on to that final point paying position for the time being. Komakopa is trying to break that 1 second on Raptor here as we're making our way through turn 8. And off the exit of turn 10. And it looks like Raptor has fallen outside that 1 second. Does not get DRS, but we got Silos making his way through turn 14 here on a set of hard tires, and this is actually going to put him in really good position as he's 12 seconds to Mr. Miller, who just came out of pit lane. And so we got about 11 laps to go. The question is, can Miller close up to the back of the leaders here and maybe contend for the win? But LB the GOAT is now looking to try and close the gap up and compete with Silos for the victory here at Bahrain in the season opener in the Pro Tier. Okay, within DRS of the Visa Cash App Red Bull in front of him in that P8 position. He's got that DRS wide open, but he's not close enough to make a move down into turn 1. So he is going to continue to follow through as we're coming through turn 2 up the hill. Now he does have a missing end plate on that Ferrari. We got 11 laps to go. He's just looking to hang on as he's making his way through turn 4. LB the GOAT is closing up to the back of Silos in that Mercedes, down to 1.3 seconds here. As we're making our way through turn 12, up the hill into turn 13. Almost down to 1 second, 1.2. I don't think he's going to get that DRS this time by. He's going to be looking to do it on the next lap and make a move on Silos. Off the exit of turn 15. Not going to have DRS this time. Feeney is within a second of Matthew. He is going to open up the DRS flap here as he's making his way down the straight when he comes off the exit of turn 15. And it appears that Matthew has dived into pit lane, so Feeney does have the DRS, but we've got to find some time here. Mr. Miller, unfortunately, not gaining on the leaders here. Well, he's actually down to 10.6, about 11 seconds, so he's gained about a second and a half on the leaders. However, LB the GOAT is now going to be competing for the lead with Silos here on lap 19. Going to open up the DRS to see if he can make a run into turn 11. And he's going to continue to... Absolutely, so we want to see the tires and the amount of stops. So we got a couple 2-stoppers, we got a couple 1-stoppers here. So that's what we can see. And then tires, we got some hards, we got some mediums, mostly hards here at this stage in the race. Everybody on a set of hard tires. But you can see the ones with the least amount of life are all on a 2-stop strategy. I will show you at the end the actual race director as well with all the tires. But we got a LB to go down through the inside of the Mercedes. This is a Lewis Hamilton, Matt Verstappen issue where they don't like racing next to each other. Biggest rivals on the circuit. LB the GOAT down to the inside in turn 4. He is going to complete that move. Silos is going to follow right behind and it looks like LB the GOAT got a lot of tire spin off the exit of 4 that allows Silos to go right back through. Mr. Miller's starting to close the gap even more. He's down to 8.8 seconds. Going to have about 9 laps to go here with LB the GOAT battling in that P2 position, trying to hang on to Silos as he did come from 2 seconds back to contend for the win at this point. Jay Feeney still fighting with Antonio in that P4 position as long as they fight, while Tomacopa's falling off for 7.2 seconds back. Feeney is going to get the DRS. He's looking to go down into the inside of turn 11 in that Haas side by side with the Mercedes as they're making their way through 11 into 12. Jay Feeney around the outside into the braking zone of turn 13, and he is going to complete that move. And up into P4, Feeney is 4.4 seconds off of Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller nearly 8 seconds back from LB the GOAT. Looking for a good exit. LB the GOAT around the outside of Silos into the braking zone of turn 1. And they're looking to hopefully use the DRS and hold off Mr. Miller from charging them down. He's nearly 8 seconds back. Through turn 4 we go, and we still got Silos and LB the GOAT both battling for the win here. And if I remember correctly, they are both on 1-stop strategies compared to P3 and P4 of Feeney and Mr. Miller, who are on 2-stop strategies. LB the GOAT up 5 positions, Antonio up 8 positions, Matthew up 7 as well. So those are your biggest movers forward. Patty Cake down 9. DeBoonster, Abdul, and like me or not, unfortunately, is not going to finish the Grand Prix. Silos is still within DRS of LB the GOAT here as they're making their way through turn 11 and 12 on lap 21. And they're going to come across the sector 2, and it looks like LB the GOAT is going to have shockingly better tire life by 2 laps here as we're making our way down the hill into turn 14. Off the exit of turn 15, Silos now 6/10 back. He's going to open up the DRS flap as he's making a run down towards turn 1. He is harvesting at this time being. The perfect opportunity just to sit behind the leader, harvest your energy back, and make it a late attack. Is he going to do that? Okay, within a second of Raptor KK in front of him in that Visa Cash App Red Bull with a Ferrari chasing him down. Up to the front, coming through turn 4. Now going to make our way. Mr. Miller's down to 6.5 seconds. He is trying to put on the charge. He's still got like 70% of his battery here. Much fresher tires. And he's really looking to put on the charge towards the leaders. Making our way off of turn 11 through turn 12 up the hill. And Silos and LB the Goat really want to fight this one to the end. Let's pull up their telemetry real quick. 44% compared to 40%, so even on the battery there. Into turn 14 we go. Now we're making our way off the exit. DRS flaps are going to come wide open here between Silos and LB the Goat. And Silos got that DRS. Looking to make a run down into turn 1. And he's still harvesting that energy. Going to go down to the inside. But he's going to continue to follow right behind of LB the Goat. As Mr. Miller's trying to close up to the back of him. 5.6 seconds. Silos just got a 3-second time penalty. So this is going to hurt him toward the end of the Grand Prix. Now Mr. Miller just needs to get within 3 seconds. Yeah, Mr. Miller is flying here on a 2-stop strategy, soft, hard. And he is up into that P3 position here. As he's down to 4 seconds now. Silo's trying to hang on nice and tight to LB the Goat. As they're into the braking zone of turn 10. Mr. Miller is closing on to the back of him. On a fresher set of tires, Matthew down through the inside of Bonget. And Bonget gets really loose off the exit of turn 4. And he's going to fall off to the back of Matthew. Okay, he's within a second of Raptor in front of him. As that Visa Cash App Red Bull still hanging on to that P7 position. And Silos 8/10, nearly 9/10 of a second back. He is going to get DRS though down the main start-finish straight. As he's trying to hang on to LB the Goat. Down the start-finish straight. Mr. Miller under 4 seconds now. He's gained about 8/10 of a second that lap. Making his way into turn 1 we go. Jay Feeney sitting in that P4 position, hasn't gained any time on Mr. Miller, still sitting about 5 seconds back. Up the hill into turn 4 we go. 3.5 tenths off of LB the Goat, battling for the lead. Bonget under a half a second, coming off the exit of turn 15. He goes a little wide. He is going to get DRS, but he's not going to be close enough to make a move into turn 1. Silo's still hanging on to the back of LB the Goat. Mr. Miller now within 3 seconds here of the 2 leaders. Through turn 10, Silos goes a little deep off the exit. He's going to open up that DRS flap, making a run down into turn 11 he goes. On the brake at about the 75 meters around through turn 11. Back up the hill into turn 13. And he's still within 8/10 of a second of the lead. He's got a 3-second time penalty. Mr. Miller down under 3 seconds here. He's putting on the charge as he's got about 50% battery life left. And you can tell Silos is low and LB the Goat has about 30%. Making our way down the start-finish straight. Silos is 8/10 back. Has the DRS flap wide open. Mr. Miller 2.5 seconds back. He's starting to close up. He's gained about, I'd say about another 7/10 that lap. Into turn 1 he goes. He's looking for a good exit here. On a fresher set of tires by probably 8 laps. Up into turn 4 we go. Silos 7/10 back. Now we're making our way through turn 5, the S-curves of sector 2. Down the hill toward turn 8. We got Mr. Miller now. He's nearly 2 seconds back. He is trying to close up really quickly. Comacopa going to go around the outside of Antonio into that P5 position. Down the hill into turn 8. We're making a run. And now through turn 9 and 10. Comacopa is sitting in that P5 position, and the Mercedes behind him of Antonio is following with the DRS IRZ up into the P11 position, so he is looking about 9.5 seconds back. Mr. Miller almost within a second here. Is he going to get the DRS down the start-finish straight? No, he's not. He's not close enough. Off the exit of turn 14, and Osmanian Devil is unfortunately retired into pit lane in that P14 position. GC Adventure is still out here racing, even though he is a lap down. He's just running some laps here. Silos 3/10 there. Mr. Miller has lost time. He was nearly a second back, and now he's down to 2.5 seconds. So all that time he gained, he lost off the exit of turn 14 and 15, and now he's got to find it again. Through the S curves we go. Down into turn 8, off the exit. In through turn 10. Mr. Miller is now back to 2 seconds. He's looking to try and chase him down. Once again, he did have him at about a 1 second range, and he lost all that time. Unfortunately, Jay Feeney is now within 4 seconds of Mr. Miller, so he's starting to try to catch up. And here we are heading down towards turn 14. We still got Silos and LB the Goat fighting for the lead on the track. Mr. Miller is sitting in that P3 position, 2.3 seconds back. Didn't really gain any time back there that time through, as Silos is now going to go down through the inside and take over the lead of the Grand Prix. He does have a 3-second time penalty, so he needs to find some time. Making our way up into turn 4, LB the Goat peeking to the inside. Not going to be close enough to make a move into turn 4. But LB the Goat is trying to hang on in that P2 position. He does have victory based on penalties, but he's trying to win it on the circuit as well. Through turn 9, down the hill into turn 10 we are. Mr. Miller down to 1.5 seconds back now. He's looking to catch back up with almost 2 laps to go. We're about to start the penultimate lap. We are halfway through, well, halfway through this lap of lap 27 as we're making our way up the hill into turn 13. Mr. Miller is now trying to put the charge back on. He's 1.6 seconds back. 1.5 seconds now. LB the Goat still going to have DRS of Silos in front of him. Question is, did Silos get DRS from the car in front of him? No, he did not. So LB the Goat is looking to make a move down into turn 1. Missed seconds back. LB the Goat's going to go down into the inside of the braking zone. And he's not going to be close enough to make a move. Mr. Miller, though, has showed up. He had no time penalty, so he's going to be battling with LB the Goat. We are on the penultimate lap here, and this is going to be very interesting now. Mr. Miller on fresher set of tires. LB the Goat down to the inside of Silos into turn 4. Side by side, making our way through turn 5 between LB the Goat and Silos. And here comes Mr. Miller around the outside of turn 7. He's going to try to keep it down to the inside of turn 8. He's not going to be close enough. We've got the helicopter view. Great view here. Making our way through turn 8 back into turn 9. 3-car battle as we're heading down into the braking zone of turn 10. DRS flaps are all opening up as we're making our way through sector 2 DRS zone into turn 11. And Mr. Miller all over the rear diffuser of Silos. He needs to find a way through quickly. And he gets a little loose off the exit of turn 11. But LB the Goat is hanging on by a 1/2 second over Silos. Mr. Miller's sitting right behind him, 7.5 tenths back. They're going to make their run down into turn 14. We got a 3-car battle, 2-car battle for the victories, 3-car battle for the win on the circuit. Oh, and Mr. Miller goes around off the exit of turn 14. That allows Feeney to get through. Feeney is actually trying to close back up to these guys as well. He's a second and a half back. And now it looks like LB the GOAT is going to hang on here as we're making our way off the edge of the turn 3. He's got to complete it one more lap here on the final lap here at Bahrain. Bonga inside the top 10. And he's all over the rear diffuser of Matthew as we're heading down into turn 14. Bonga's going to jump up into P9 looking for some more points. Takes out the bollard there in turn 14. And Matthew manages to get by him. Back up to the front though. Feeney is now caught within a second here of the leader. Goes a little wide off the edge of turn 8. CeeLo's 8/10 back. And it looks like LB the GOAT in toward turn 11. Got a good run using all the remaining battery he has. CeeLo's still hanging on. He's going to try and hold off Feeney here as we're coming through turn 12 now. Up the hill into turn 13. Off the exit, it looks like CeeLo's still hanging on. Feeney is all over his rear diffuser, nearly a half a second back as we're making our run down the hill in toward turn 14. Is Jay Feeney going to get a run off the exit of 15? It looks like CeeLo's gets a little bit of a wheel spin, making a run towards the line. Who's going to hang on? And it appears the Mercedes gets across by 28 thousandths of a second. Mr. Miller, who spun on the final corner of the penultimate lap, is finished P4. Copa comes home in P5. Antonio's coming across the line in P6. Is he going to hang on to it here as LK comes across in 7th? Raptor is looking to come across the line here in that Visa Cash App Red Bull. And here we go. Matthew is still hanging on with Bonget. Bonget looking to the inside, and Matthew's going to hang on to that P9 position. Peak Hours making his way around the final 2 corners here, and going to come home in P11. IRZ in that Aston Martin's making his way through Sector 2 now. And there you have it. IRZ working up towards the hill, towards turn 13. Down into turn 14 we go. Off the exit and making our way towards the line. And he's gonna come across. And there you have it, folks. That is your Grand Prix here at the Bahrain International Circuit, your season opener for the Pro Tier drivers. Wednesday night will be the season opener for the Elite Tier drivers at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And that will be commentated by, hold on, MMR Hotspot. Oh, there we have it. Your LB the GOAT on the top step of the podium with the official CeeLo's MP2. And then the Haas driver of Jay Feeney comes home in that P3 position. He had a horrible start as his clutch did not work. So, you know, some terrible bugs with the game. There you got it. You got LB the GOAT, CeeLo's, Jay Feeney, Mr. Miller, Copa, Antonio. Actually, we'll just do it this way. Jay Feeney, Mr. Miller, Copa, Antonio, Raptor, LK, Matthew, and Bonga are your top 10. Peak Hour, IRZ, Patty Cake, GC Adventure, Osmanian Devil. Like me or not, Abdul and Boonster will round out your grid. But there you have it, folks. I am the Johnny Damon. I was your commentator tonight, and just tune in Wednesday night as your Elite Tier will be taking on the Bahrain International Circuit at 10 p.m. and we are excited for them to bring you the action. So I hope you all have a great night, and I look forward to seeing you next week right here on CCRL TV at 9 p.m. Eastern Time next Monday night. Have a great night, folks. As